Okay. So this is the mold.
Okay, this is the original mold of the second Cyrus Trump temple coin. And as you can see over here, let's see what we have. Okay, first of all, we have over here in Hebrew, Lemalot Shivim Shana, to fulfill 70 years. The original verse, to fulfill 70 years, is when the Jews went out to exile, to the Babylonian exile. They were there for 70 years. And after 70 years, King Cyrus said, God, the Lord of the world, gave me permission to let you, the Jews, come back to the land of Israel. And look what he said. And he charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem. That happened about 2,500 years ago. And now, 70 years for the state of Israel, something happened again. One of the biggest leaders of the world again, President Donald Trump, and here we see the seal of America. He again recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, of the state of Israel, of the people of Israel. And he also built a house in Jerusalem. But we don't want only the embassy. We hope, just as King Cyrus pushed us, the Jewish people, to rebuild the temple, we hope all the 70 nations and President Donald Trump, after he recognized Jerusalem as the spiritual, holy capital of the land of Israel, of the state of Israel, he will help us, the Jewish people, rebuild the third temple. And that's why we have the seal of America, the original Persian Empire.
Christianity and Islam and all the monotheism religious has a very, very important role to unify everybody, to worship the true living God, and to prosper and thrive according to God's will. It's so simple.
Do you think that the Vatican Pope Francis, he seems to have a similar message? Do you think that that Rome will go along with this too? Do you think this is...
No, I don't think so. In the U.S. there are 30,000 denominations of Christianities. So according to what we received, part of them will be part of the redemption, part of them no. It's very, very simple. So whomever will accept to be exactly as the nations, whomever will come as a person to come to be to worship God, he will be part of the redemption. As simple as that.
Just look around you. Look who's sitting here. And where are you from? Jamaica. And you're from the USA. And you're from
Argentina.
Argentina. And where are you from? Guatemala. Look at this. Look at this. And we have somebody from India. It's unbelievable. Here in the center of Jerusalem, I'm surrounded people from other nations, and we're all talking about one thing, of the importance of Jerusalem, and the importance of peace, and the importance of the Geulah of redemption. So we're part of a prophetic process. That's what it's all about. And this president, he understood when nobody else understood. He understood we're not talking politics. We're not talking politics. We're talking Torah. We're talking prophets. That's what it's all about. And once we understand it, and I think he understood it, maybe he can't say it, but he knows. And he's pushing us. He's pushing us. And the whole world is there.
Can I ask,
where are you from?
England.
England, okay. Yeah, England also.
Can I ask, you said earlier that some of the temple is ready to be built in a prefab state. Is that true? Do you have part of the temple already built?
And it's exactly what we said before. It's not enough to pray for the temple. And if you pray for something, you have to believe. And to show that you believe something, you have to do. So that's why we have a lot of vessels made. We have a big altar that was made. We have programs, and yes, also some of the pieces of the temple, like this blocks itself, can be just transferred, exactly like the model we see over here, 15 times bigger than this, and the temple can be built.
As Trump says, every nation will keep his language, his culture, his beliefs. It's not globalization.
Okay.
It's to walk one God on Temple Mount.
What is a Muslim? Let's talk. What is a Muslim? Muslim in the Hebrew world is perfect. Whomever talked to God is perfect. According to the Quran, Ibrahim was Muslim. Moses was Muslim. He was perfect, and they got into a conclusion that the Messiah will be their Mahdi. Their Mahdi. So whenever I meet Muslims in many countries, I tell them, who was Muslim according to the Quran? Abraham, I'm from Ibrahim. Moses, Musa, I'm from Musa, I'm Levi. And the Mashiach, Messiah, will be the Mahdi. So actually our history is the same, our future is the same, so what is the problem now? And they ask us, really, what is the problem? I'm saying that the problem is only the radicals, they're the terrorists. But whenever everybody will support building the third temple, then everybody will prosper, because this is what the temple is for the whole world.
So you think that there could be some union between all the religions as part of this?
Absolutely. We already have unity, but everybody's afraid from the terrorists. But okay, so this is our job, to unify everybody to worship the only true living God in the third temple, with all the nations that will worship God.
Hashem will be a king, the one king, and will unite the whole world. So yes.
So you see that Jacob and Esau reuniting in the last days. So Muslims and Jews and Christians. Would be part of this one world, including some Kabbalistic and Eastern influences, all into one kind of religion in this temple. Is that
I won't call it one kind of religion, and one kind of understanding.
like a new way of thinking?
It's understanding that there is one God in heaven.
So it's kind of a new way, a higher consciousness, a higher way of thinking.
Exactly. And at the end of times, everybody will understand that Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad.
Okay.
God is one.
Okay, so but this is a similar design to the third temple, and it's a very sort of kingly temple, isn't it? And I wanted to ask you, this lamp. So you've got the lamp. That would be the lamp of Queen Helena, who is a Persian. I mistakenly thought it was Constantine's mother, Helena, but this is a Persian Queen Helena.
She was very fond of the Jewish people, as she converted to Judaism herself, and the sages liked her very much. And when she wanted to donate something to the temple, so she made this candelabra made of gold. Okay. And when the sun used to rise from the east, it would hit the gold candelabra, and it would spread the light, like symbolically, but not only symbolically, from the temple.
So it reflects the sun.
It reflects the sun, exactly.
As it rises from the east, and this is what we're seeing in this picture over here, right? This is the sun reflection from the lamp of Queen Helena.
That's right.
And so we've got that kind of Persian thing again, and would it be right to say that there's some element of Kabbalah in this temple?
Well, Kabbalah is actually the inner part of the Torah. We have what the Torah tells us, and it's written in the Torah, and the Kabbalah is actually what isn't written, but we have to want to understand maybe about Little Persia and these all ancient nations, Eastern nations,
religions.
So it's maybe religions.
So would you describe this as like a kind of a new world order, so to speak?
This is not an order. This is not order. It's different. It's the new world without any, let's say, negative and forbidden feelings, like hatred, like revenge. Like it will be only loving, appreciation, honoring. So this will be a new world. But not all order, it will be a new world, holistic, the holistic way, the way God wants it.
On here it says the Persian Empire. Do you think that this temple could somehow unite Islam, Muslim religion with Christianity and Judaism? Do you think that's...
So if we're talking about the Persian Empire, we know now that in Iran, which is where Persia is now, there's some different empire, but we're talking about the original Persian Empire. And yes, even in Iran, we have Iranians who are not Jewish, who want this coin because they understand that, yes, this is the place that will unite the whole world. And yes, the Jewish people have the power to unite the whole world. It's not us, not just Jewish people, but as long as we are talking the words of Hashem, that's what Hashem is. Hashem Echad, U'Shmo Echad. Hashem is the one which can unite everybody.
Messiah will be the judge.
You believe the Mashiach ben David is coming to
Mashiach
this
ben
temple?
David is very soon, and he is a Jew, and he is not Jesus. And if the Christians want to hold it, they can hold it.
And Mashiach ben David
It's not Jesus, and if the Christians want to hold it, they can hold it.
and Mashiach ben David would potentially be the Messiah that would rule over this unity, this one world unity.
The first king we had that was a real king was King David, and we know that the king that will be eventually leading the world will also be from Yehuda, like you said, Mashiach ben David, or eventually the leader of the world will be a king, not a political king, but a spiritual king that will help all of us understand together what we are supposed to be doing in this world.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus is described as the Lion of the tribe of Judah and the Son of David. Do you think that maybe Jesus, Yeshua, could be the true Messiah, and we might have maybe a counterfeit that could show up?
People will understand. It's like, I don't know, a small kid when you offer him chocolate, or an adult. If you offer him money, nobody's going to say no to money, which is something very not spiritual. When we have the right understanding of what's important in the world, it'll be obvious to all of us that that's what we want. Everybody will be running after spirituality. So when that time comes, everybody will want it.
Okay, so we believe that the Antichrist will actually be the head of this deception before the real Mashiach comes. That's where we differ on our thinking at the moment. It says in the Temple Institute that there's going to be a Sanhedrin court.
Yes.
So they would make sort of judgments from the court in the temple. Is that?
There is a special place in the temple for the Sanhedrin. My temple will be the center of the prayer of the whole world. This is what Isaiah says. So we know this will be the future. So we are just marching it. I know it's like a mathematical formula. We're getting closer and closer. The last Sanhedrin war was 1600 years ago, and we had the right code how to reestablish it, because we knew that it has to be established. And all the rabbis agreed on one rabbi that he is like Moses, he can, and all the rabbis agreed on one rabbi that he is like Moses, he can ordained other people. He ordained 3, and the 3 of them ordained 71 at Tiberias, exactly the same place where the last Sanhedrin sat 600 years ago. So this is part of the process.
يا نفس إن لم تظفري لا تجزعي وإلى موائد جود مولاك ارجعي يا نفس إن لم تظفري لا تجزعي ربما
Now, here comes this source. Now you have to be very observant now. The true name of Satan, the Kabbalists say, is Yahweh, reversed. For Satan is not a black god, but a negation of God. For initiates, this is not a person, but a force. Do you have heard of movies that say, the force be with you? Okay. Please note, I'll read this again. To the Kabbalists, they say, Yahweh reversed. Okay? So that's their God. They turn everything upside down. To the outside world, they say, Yahweh. To the inner world, it means what? Satan. So they can preach in the name of Jesus Christ the most eloquent sermons, and you wouldn't know that they're preaching about Lucifer. You wouldn't know. Now, the name of Yahweh reversed. Now, I was in Israel the other day, and I was on the track of something very important, and I took many photographs, and a man came up to me, and he flashed something at me. Very strange. There was another evangelist right next to me, and he flashed something, and he says, look, Allah is your God upside down. And he walked away, and I thought he was nuts. I read the statement, and I went to a Hebrew scholar, and I said, will you check this out for me? And he battled, and he battled, and he battled, and he battled. When the Mason learns that the key to the worry on the block is the proper application of the dynamic dynamo of living power, he has learned the mastery of his craft. The seething energy of Lucifer are in his hands. Manly Palmer Hall, high Masonic form. The devil is now called darkness by the church, whereas in the Bible he's called the Son of God, Lucifer, son of the morning. One quote after the other. And here's the other quote, Blavatsky, Secret Doctrine. Jehovah, esoterically, is also the serpent or dragon. I'm not saying it. The highest source in occultism is saying it. That tempted Eve, and the dragon is an old glyph for astral light, which is wisdom in chaos. So, esoterists turn everything upside down. Here she writes in Secret Doctrine, the great serpent of the Garden of Eden and the Lord God are identical. They're Luciferians, you see. And so are Jehovah and Cain 1, the Cain who is referred to in theology as the murderer and the liar. So the God of the Bible is the murderer and the liar, and the serpent is exalted. That's secret esoteric teaching, only known to the adepts. Here another quote from Secret Doctrine. The appellation Satan in Hebrew, Satan, an adversary, to be adverse belongs by right to the first and cruelest adversary of all the other gods, Jehovah, not to the serpent who spoke only words of sympathy and wisdom. And it is the worst, even in the dogma, the adversary of man. See? So the bad guy is Jesus. The good guy is Satan. Therefore Jehovah was called by the Gnostics the creator of and one with Ophiomorphos, the serpent, Satan. They turn it upside down. I'm not making this up. He's known as the supreme architect of the universe. This is all quotes. Who has promised that we shall never, never die. This is a Masonic source which blows them out of the water. What do they call their deity? The supreme architect of the universe. But he's the one who said you will never, never die. Which one said that? The serpent said it. So the poor Masons in the lower ranks don't know these things. Here's another one from Morals and Dogma, just to make sure that you see that I'm not making this up. The deity of the Old Testament is everywhere represented as the direct author of evil. I hereby promise to Lucifer, my soul, the secret teaching of all ages, mainly Palmer Hall. And who is then allowed to know the truth about Masonry? Well, we must create a super right which remains unknown. Only some may know these things and others not. Now, when you become a Shriner, that means when you have reached the 32nd degree of Freemasonry, you qualify after 6 months to become a Shriner. Now, if you were a Christian, you swore allegiance on the Bible. But when you become a Shriner, you swear allegiance to Allah. With the Quran on the altar, we sealed our solemn oath in the name of Allah, the God of Arab, Muslim, Mohammedan, the God of our fathers. Wow, that's interesting. The Mosla, here is one of their phases. Now we understand something. The one is a front organization for a front organization, but the one who receives worship is Rome, not Islam. Islam is subservient to Rome without anyone knowing it.
I first met Tim Berners-Lee in the mid-1980s. Then later, he wrote his proposal and so on. I saw the proposal. And I think the second time around, or maybe the third time around, a proposal actually was looked at, and he was in a position to ask for a computer that he wanted to prototype this on. And I also will never forget the day when, about 2 or 3 months later, I think this was ordered in May of 1990, Tim rushed in my office and said, Ben, it's arrived, come and look. And I went in his office and I saw this sexy black cube, and he was just setting it up. And it was the easiest machine to set up that I'd ever seen.
Saturn is the key in so many ways to what is happening. Saturn, Kronos, Satan, Black Sun, Dark Lord, they're all the same thing, the expression of this force. And here you have Moloch, who they worship at Bohemian Grove, and he is a god of Saturn, this recurring theme. They also represent Moloch as a bull, as I said earlier, and so you have that as the symbol of Wall Street. And the golden calf in the Bible is Moloch, Saturn. The Greeks talked about Saturn used to eat his own children.
Before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order. Where the rule of law governs the conduct of nations.
Centuries to build.
I have in my possession a secret map made in Germany by Hitler's government, by the planners of the New World Order.
Then you've got this symbol of the horned god. Again, Saturn, Satan, as it also became known, which is you find with so many politicians. And Pat Robertson, this so-called Christian evangelist, yeah, okay. And talking of horns and horned gods, in astrology, Saturn is connected to Capricorn, and so one of the Saturn symbols is the goat. This again is the great Freemasonic historian Manly P. Hall, who said Pan, the goat god, was a composite creature, the upper part, with the exception of his horns, being human, and the lower part in the form of a goat. The god himself is a symbol of Saturn, because this planet is enthroned in Capricorn, whose emblem is a goat. That is what that is. Baphomet, worshipped by Satanists. It's a symbol of Saturn. And I'm going somewhere with this, because I'm going why they're focused on Saturn. So, you have Baphomet, you have Beyonce, the wife of Jay-Z, with this big Baphomet ring, which is performing. You have Baphomet-dressed Lady Gaga, Baphomet-dressed Madonna, and you have Baroness Philippine de Rothschild from the wineries in France with a massive Baphomet necklace. And this is from the front cover of the Saturn myth, with the symbolism described of these lights that went off from Saturn at certain points, with the four main ones there, and there it is symbolized on one of these ancient tablets. And in St. Peter's Square, that is a mirror of the way that Saturn symbol looks. And there it is on the thing that he has his biscuit in, there, where he's doing his stuff. numerologically, digitally, Saturn is number 8, and this has led to symbolism of Saturn in terms of the spider. Thus you have, in Madonna's Super Bowl performance, the winged disc symbolized with a spider in the center. Now this is fascinating. This is called the magic square of Saturn. And it's also, not by coincidence, the magic square of Freemasonry. And it's magic because of this reason. If you go that way, that way, that way, that way, or that way, or that way, all the numbers in the 3 blocks in line add up to 15. And in numerology, you keep adding numbers until they become a single number. And so 15 in numerological terms is 6. So 666, 666 in all directions. And the black and white squares, for reasons I'll have to go into in detail in a book, because you know, so much to get through today, also relates to Saturn. And so you have them in Freemasonic temples, black and white squares, and you have them in the major cathedrals, like Westminster Abbey and stuff, because of this connection I'm talking about. Now this is called the sigil of Saturn. And they get this symbol by drawing in the magic square of Saturn from 1 to 2, and then to 3, from 4 to 5 to 6, etc. That's how they get it. Now you turn that straight up, and that's what that is. It's the sigil of Saturn. And this is a major symbol of Saturn going way back, the 6-pointed star. It just so happens to be the very symbol from which we get the name Rothschild, one of the major families in this network. Because they used to be called Bauer. They lived in Frankfurt in Germany. But they had this red 6-pointed star hexagram on the front of their house, and they changed their name to from Bauer to Red Shield in German, Rothschild, red sign or red shield. Rothschild. So they're named after this very symbol. And it was they that created Israel, not on behalf of Jewish people, on behalf of their bloody agenda that treats Jewish people with as much disdain as any of the rest of us. And so you have their symbol on the flag of Israel. They use the 6-pointed star so much in law enforcement. This is on a public building in Toronto, right in the center of the 6-pointed star. There's the horned god. There's the sheriff and a medal. There is the 6-pointed star representing Saturn on an ancient, clay depiction, and there it is on Credo Mutwa's 500 to 1,000-year-old Zulu hand symbol. If you do that on the dollar bill, you get the 6-pointed star, and those letters make an anagram of Mason. Interestingly, inside the Great Mother Lodge of Freemasonry in Great Queen Street, London, there is the Twin Towers, symbolic of the crescent, and there is Saturn again, the 6-pointed star. Now, of course, the Roman Church and Christianity, that is anti-Freemasonry and anti-secret societies because they're naughty, but it's on his bloody fish hat, look, right? They're everywhere because the same force is in control. Here you go, I have a bit more Madonna. There you go. And on the Great Seal of the United States, those 13 stars make up a 6-pointed star, not by accident. And therefore, again, we keep coming back to this, all these different areas of society are in the end focused on one thing. Satanism is Saturnism. This is Fritz Springmeier, a long-time researcher into this and symbolism, etc., and Satanism. Saturn is an important key to understanding the long heritage this conspiracy has back to antiquity. The city of Rome was originally known as the Saturnia, or City of Saturn. The Roman Catholic Church retains much of Saturn worship in its ritual. Saturn also relates to Lucifer. In various occult dictionaries, Saturn is associated with evil. And this is the remains of the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And just next to this is this place called Capitoline Hill now, but before that called Mons Saturnus, the Hill of Saturn. And this is a very symbolically important place to the bloodlines. And this whole thing about the skull and bones, Capitoline Hill comes from caput, meaning dead, because they were supposed to have found a human skull there, and they call it Capitoline Hill. That's why we say kaput when something's dead. And you have the theme in Christianity of Golgotha and Calvary, the place of the skull, hill of the skull. And Capitoline Hill became Capitol Hill when the bloodlines moved in on America. Now, the North Pole, northern pole of Saturn, is a permanent storm which takes the form of a hexagon. And this has been found by the Cassini spacecraft, and I think the Voyager one before that in the early 80s. And the hexagon also is an expression of the hexagram, or of the six-pointed star. Because all these different symbols that I'm going to talk about now are different expressions of the same frequency state. So you look at this crop circle from England this year, and it is a hexagon. But a hexagon is a flattened out cube. So when you look at it from another angle, it's a cube. Well, it just so happens that an ancient symbol of Saturn is the cube, especially the black cube. When the Cassini spacecraft arrived at Saturn in 2004, found many things that was unexplainable. You know, things like the hexagon North Pole storm and stuff like that. But they also found extraordinarily powerful sound coming from Saturn. This is part of what they recorded. Nice, man. And I got sent this by a sound engineer who works in sound engineering for a living. And it's one of the rings of Saturn. And he said, I see that every day. That's bloody sound. They're sound waves. And this is in cymatics. This is a six-pointed star. And of course we have the hexagon going round and round and round at Saturn's North Pole. This is a standing wave created by sound, rings. This is at the South Pole of Saturn, and it's a permanent ice storm. This is a standing wave created by sound. And these are symbols created by sound, like cymatics. And a certain frequency created this perfect six-pointed star with the hexagon in the middle and the hexagon there. Therefore, the sound creates the frequency, creates the symbol, and in the same way, the symbol represents the sound and the frequency. The symbols are just holographic representations of vibrational waveform states. I would suggest in these symbols cases, representatives of the sound frequency coming off Saturn. Same with all these symbols and numerological manipulations. The sound and the symbol are different expressions of the same thing. Thus, if we in the holographic realm are constantly bombarded with these symbols, it is on an energetic level feeding us the frequency field of what they represent.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order can emerge, a new era. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle.
The law of the jungle. In the UK, we have a very popular genre of music amongst the young people called jungle music. Now, in the terms of the agenda, the Order of the Barbarians wanted to turn poor districts into the law of the jungle, which means the survival of the fittest, aka chaos, order out of chaos. So isn't it ironic that one of the most popular genres around young people, particularly where I grew up in the UK, is called jungle music, and it features chaotic, mind-controlling MK Ultra beats, whilst getting person's mind perhaps wired in particularly poorer areas, and perhaps conditioning them towards the law of the jungle. This could be related to the phrase we see in the letter attributed to Albert Pike, which describes the agenda for the 3 world wars, but towards the Third World War, the phrase is used, we will see the origin of savagery. And this is just the same as the New World Order phrase, order out of chaos, order ab chaos. The New World Order rising out of chaos, the origin of savagery. Now, order ab chaos can also reference the bull, just like Baal or out of a storm. And, we see references to this in the mainstream media, like with Miley Cyrus. He came in like a wrecking ball, and other depictions. But this seems to be what this is alluding to. And this is the music I grew up with, and I can't deny that there's still something in me that does pull me in my flesh towards what I have been conditioned with, because I've been in the generation that's grown up with this and seen this as normal. I used to fall asleep with this music playing in my earphones because I feel relaxed with a chaotic mind. This is the conditioning that I've experienced growing up in this culture. So isn't it interesting that when you go to some of these raves and these music events, which are extremely popular amongst the young people, full of drugs, full of these jungle chaos beats, and also that people are visually manipulated through the symbols that are shown that are actually pretty much the same as what we see here in this Adobe commercial. The symbols of Babylon and the MK Ultra mind control, and this is ritual abuse. This is a form of ritual abuse on the minds of the young. What's interesting, because all of the elements of ritual abuse, it includes sexual deviance at these events, it includes mind control, emotional control, drug control. All of these elements of satanic ritual abuse are present at these events. So these symbols find their way back to Babylon, and you have to ask yourself, why are we seeing the same symbols over and over again? And some of these symbols display very clearly what the agenda of this is. With the Monarch MK Ultra symbols, we've seen this butterfly so many times, and people say, well, it's a sign of MK Ultra, and that's true. But there's several meanings to some of these symbols, and they get more and more sordid the deeper you go into what they mean. And this all has its roots in the cult of Diana, with the prostitution and the drug insertion. The Hollywood was actually a stick which was used to, watch if you've got kids around, but to use the stick to put the drugs into the person, usually on the back end in the rectum. And these are the elements that make for this satanic mind control, which is so accepted now and partook in various forms, with the sacrifice of the innocent, because most people don't know what they're doing there.
We must stop the terror. I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive. You're free, and freedom is beautiful. And, it'll take time to restore chaos and order, but we're order out of chaos, but we will.
Before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order. Where the rule of law governs the conduct of nations.
Centuries to build.
I have in my possession a secret map made in Germany by Hitler's government, by the planners of the New World Order.
And by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. It describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. 7 countries in 5 years.
Now, here comes this source. Now you have to be very observant now. The true name of Satan, the Kabbalists say, is Yahweh, reversed. For Satan is not a black god, but a negation of God. For initiates, this is not a person, but a force. Do you have heard of movies that say, the force be with you? Okay. Please note, I'll read this again. To the Kabbalists, they say Yahweh reversed. Okay? So that's their God. They turn everything upside down. To the outside world, they say Yahweh. To the inner world, it means what? Satan. So they can preach in the name of Jesus Christ the most eloquent sermons, and you wouldn't know that they're preaching about Lucifer. You wouldn't know. Now, the name of Yahweh reversed. Now, I was in Israel the other day, and I was on the track of something very important, and I took many photographs. And a man came up to me and he flashed something at me. Very strange. There was another evangelist right next to me. And he flashed something and he says, look, Allah is your God upside down. And he walked away. And I thought he was nuts. I read the statement. And I went to a Hebrew scholar. And I said, will you check this out for me? And he battled and he battled and he battled and he battled. When the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamic dynamo of living power, he has learned the mastery of his craft. The seething energy of Lucifer are in his hands. Manly Palmer Hall, high Masonic form. The devil is now called darkness by the church, whereas in the Bible he's called the Son of God, Lucifer, son of the morning. One quote after the other. And here's the other quote, Blavatsky, Secret Doctrine. Jehovah, esoterically, is also the serpent or dragon. I'm not saying it. The highest source in occultism is saying it. That tempted Eve, and the dragon is an old glyph for astral light, which is wisdom in chaos. So, esoterists turn everything upside down. Here she writes in Secret Doctrine, the great serpent of the Garden of Eden and the Lord God are identical. They're Luciferians, you see. And so are Jehovah and Cain 1, the Cain who is referred to in theology as the murderer and the liar. So the God of the Bible is the murderer and the liar, and the serpent is exalted. That's secret esoteric teaching, only known to the adepts. Here another quote from Secret Doctrine. The appellation Satan in Hebrew, Satan an adversary, to be adverse belongs by right to the first and cruelest adversary of all the other gods, Jehovah. Not to the serpent, who spoke only words of sympathy and wisdom. And it is the worst, even in the dogma, the adversary of man. See? So the bad guy is Jesus. The good guy is Satan. Therefore Jehovah was called by the Gnostics the creator of and one with Ophiomorphos, the serpent, Satan. They turn it upside down. I'm not making this up. He's known as the supreme architect of the universe. This is all quotes. Who has promised that we shall never, never die. This is a Masonic source which blows them out of the water. What do they call their deity? The supreme architect of the universe. But he's the one who said you will never, never die. Which one said that? The serpent said it. So the poor Masons in the lower ranks don't know these things. Here's another one from Morals and Dogma, just to make sure that you see that I'm not making this up. The deity of the Old Testament is everywhere represented as the direct author of evil. I hereby promise to Lucifer, my soul, the secret teaching of all ages, Manly Palmer Hall. And who isn't allowed to know the truth about Masonry? Well, we must create a super right which remains unknown. Only some may know these things and others not. Now, when you become a Shriner, that means when you have reached the 32nd degree of Freemasonry, you qualify after 6 months to become a Shriner. Now, if you were a Christian, you swore allegiance on the Bible. But when you become a Shriner, you swear allegiance to Allah. With the Quran on the altar, we sealed our solemn oath in the name of Allah, the God of Arab, Muslim, Mohammedan, the God of our fathers. Wow, that's interesting. The Mosla, here is one of their faces. Now we understand something. The one is a front organization for a front organization, but the one who receives worship is Rome, not Islam. Islam is subservient to Rome without anyone knowing it. So let's repeat this one. The true name of Satan, the Kabbalists say, is Yahweh reversed. And here it is. There's the name of God, Yahweh, as it is in Hebrew. If you carefully reverse it, each one, and turn it upside down, in reverse writing you have that. Upside down you have that. You press it together, you have that. And that spells Allah in Arabic. Wow. That's fascinating stuff. So that man who came to me there and flashed this at me and disappeared, was he right? That's scary.